All right, what is going on, everybody? Hope everybody had a great New Year. I got another breakdown for UFC Vegas 46. This one's at flyweight. We got Brandon Royval taking on Rogerio Bontorin. Royval gonna have a 3.5 inch reach advantage, 4 inches taller. So I'll start with him. Factory X came in with significant hype after winning his first two fights in a big way. And I had hype on him before he came in because he fought a 5 round fight with Casey Kenny and had a lot of he lost that fight by decision, but it's a tough opponent. It'll help you grow. And he had a lot of first round finishes in LFA. Just a very aggressive fighter. So he comes in against Tim Elliott, and you can tell he had a little bit of octagon jitters in the beginning, but he bounces back in that one, gets the arm triangle. Tim Elliott loses a lot of fights, but he's a tough fight for anybody, so it's a great UFC debut win. And then he fights Kai Kara France, and just very, very aggressive in that fight. Pretty much dominates every aspect in the first round. Was outstriking him, outlanding him big time. I believe 3-1 in significant strikes. Granted, Kai Kara France was kind of sitting down on some counters and was having a little success, which I'll talk about in a second. It is a little concerning with Royval, but yeah, on the ground, Kai Kara France eventually just got up because he was threatening so many submissions. Royval was, and he just opted to stand for the end of the first, and then in the second. Royval just keeps up that pressure, and Kai Kara France just shoots for a takedown, surprisingly, and he just wraps up a guillotine. So, I was talking about last week on Twitter, like, it feels like it never works out when people drop guillotine, but, like, when a guy does do it successfully, it shows that they got a really good sub game, and Royval definitely does. And then against Brandon Moreno, his shoulder pops out of place. Granted, I think that Moreno was pretty much ahead in every aspect of that fight, but Royval was competitive. He's not a guy that's ever going to get bullied on the ground. He'll set up triangles to either get out or set up submissions, and he does relentlessly change submissions. But on the downside of that, against Pantoja, he has a great fight. I would say he won the first round, was having success in the second, but gets a little too overzealous on the ground sometimes, or sometimes he takes it there but doesn't need to. And in that one, he got overzealous. And sometimes you see these fighters who have a lot of submissions. They also get submitted sometimes because they are just too aggressive. Not everybody, there's some submission guys who are more measured, but Royval is kind of one of those do or die submission artists sometimes, but usually it's he gets it done. But those are the top two in the division. I can't wait to see Moreno versus Pantoja when they do make that one. Pantoja would have been fighting for the belt coming up next if he didn't get hurt. So yeah, I definitely don't hold it against Royval. They lost those two, but what I like about him is he's super aggressive, very aggressive, great cardio. He's a Denver native, or from the Denver area, so he's got that cardio. And again, just relentless volume on the feet. Not a ton of power, but very good variety of strikes. He can leave himself open sometimes because he just throws caution to the wind and just, opens up. Kind of crashes in a little bit sometimes, leaves himself off balance. So if there is a fighter that sits down on counters, sometimes it can be effective. But this guy's pressure is just really relentless that even good counter strikers can't really get into a rhythm. Like Kara France never really got a chance. And then he did kind of screw himself with the guillotine, but it could loom large in this one. We will see. But for Bontorin, coming off a great bounce back win over Matt Schnell, didn't do a ton in that one. He did miss weight, but he was just countering effectively, landed the heavier shots. It was a close fight until the end where Bontorin landed a definitive combination, took him down with a minute left, and then it was pretty clear that Bontorin was going to win. I thought Bontorin was going to win anyway. I would definitely given him the second round. The first round was close, but Schnell wasn't really landing with a ton of power. He was landing with a little bit more volume, but every heavy exchange in the fight went to Bontorin, and that just kind of sums him up. He's very big for the weight class. He's got pretty good power, and he's got good wrestling power, too. He doesn't always use it. But against Kai Kara France, he used it. He was pressuring him in that one. It was a little bit different from the Schnell fight. He wasn't getting backed up. And then he punches his way into the clinch, gets a big double leg, controls the whole first round, was on his back. Kara France stands up after having him on his back for a minute, and he just immediately shifts to a standing backpack, drops an insane rear naked choke that I have no idea how he didn't get. I have no idea how Kai Kara France survived that. And then he stands up with 20 seconds left, and Bontorin, I guess, was just tired, and Kara France just upped the urgency. He lands a couple bombs, and then just the final combination with 5 seconds left puts him out. So it was a really tough loss for Bontorin. It sucks. He did a lot of things well. It would have been a good win over Kai Kara France, who was trending down at the time, but That fight showed that Kara France was legit. Did lose to Ray Borg, but Ray Borg, notorious weight bully for this weight class, is kind of why he was cut because he couldn't even make weight at bantamweight. But did beat Holly and Paiva as a doctor stoppage, but it's a good win anyway. So he's got good UFC resume, I would say. He does have a couple tough losses, but they're both excusable. And the Kai Kara France one was just it's just an agonizing way to lose because he did do a lot of things well. Does have a 17-3 record, but I would say the competition level is a little bit lower than Royval, but it's not like it's terrible. And you go 17-3, it's gotta be praised no matter what. But what I like about Bontorin, again, he's got good power. He's got good wrestling power. I think if he wants to go that route, he could. But it is a little tricky because we saw Kai Kara France just do the same thing. Like, Royval might be looking for that. He might know how to pounce on a panic takedown. And I just think that he doesn't have as much urgency as Royval. It's a little concerning. But, yeah, if he can counter effectively, I do think that Royval is susceptible to getting countered. It's just, again, the relentless volume kind of negates it. But if you do connect clean, he leaves himself off balance. So it's a little bit of a wild card if you want to bet on Royval. But I do like Royval in this fight at -166. We're still 2 weeks out, so got a lot of time to strategize with my wagers. But I do think I'm going to bet on Royval in this one. The line is trending up in his favor. So I might have to get in a little bit early, which, by the way, I am going to track my bets now on Bet Tips MMA. I made my account last week, and I just got to figure out how to put the bets in, but I haven't made any bets for this card yet anyway. But when I do, they will be on there. I'll have the links to all that when I put the betting video up. But, yeah, I do like Royval at -166. Royval by sub is probably going to be worth a sprinkle because they'll probably have good odds. But I do think that... I think Royval is definitely just going to be able to out-volume him. If you look at the striking differential numbers, which, I don't necessarily always look at numbers for MMA. If you watch the fights and take detailed notes, a lot of times you'll just pick up on what the numbers will tell you. The only thing I really like looking at it for is for takedowns. But again, even that you can see with the eye test. I still think there's a big enough sample size. But anyway, yeah, he definitely has more volume. The numbers back that up. Less power, but relentless pressure, relentless volume. He's good off of his back. He doesn't have good takedown defense, but I think what this fight's going to come down to is if Royval has the jiu-jitsu to not get out-wrestled by Bontorin, I think he wins this fight. So I do like Royval at -166. Could be a little bit of a dangerous fight, but yeah. So thanks for watching, guys. Sure to subscribe, and take it easy.